It was time to wash my fabric, so I figured what better way to talk about hanging our hammocks than right now. You'll want to spread your fabric out as evenly as you can. We want to get a nice clean edge at the top. I've noticed from time to time as I go to classes that if I'm in a hammock where the edges aren't lined up properly, I get a lot more pinching in my fabric. So this is a really important step. Once your fabric is evenly spread out, you'll use your fingers to walk the fabric and bunch it together. And just a note on care instructions, I wash on a cold, gentle cycle and I pick a safe detergent. And what I mean by safe is we are not heavy with dyes or perfume. Once we have our edge in place, you'll want to take the fabric to your left side. So I realize this looks like my right, but it is my left. I'm going to drape it over my left arm. So I have my long tail behind me and I have a shorter tail in front of me. You'll hold with your right hand the tail out to the side so you can reach underneath and grab the fabric. From here we pull through. So I'm going to pull the long tail through and create a little loop. This is the loop where we put our carabiner. So you want to slide that right through our fabric. Once you're here, I always just like to make sure that my opening is on top. So from here, you're going to take that little hole that we threaded the carabiner through. We're going to pull our tail through that as well. So once we're here, I do typically need to put the fabric on the ground to do a little tightening action. So I'll tighten from the long end first and then the short end. And just as a review for that second side, I have the long end to my left and I'm going to drape it over my arm. Right arm pulls it out to the side, reaching down and underneath so I can grab all of the fabric and weave it up and through. That's going to give me my little loop, which is where the carabiner is going to go. Sliding our fabric in. And again, just make sure our opening is on top. You'll take your tail and pull it through the same loop that you threaded your carabiner through. And let's just do a little tightening on the floor from the long end and the short end. Don't make it too tight. We have one more step left. Now safety first, always have your step stool or your ladder out and ready when we're hanging. And I have to do another test here. So if you have a low ceiling like me, I feel like, look at that, a little too high, right? As soon as I try to test, now it's too low. So I need to do one of two things. I could just simply untie and retie my knot with a longer tail, or you can keep the carabiner in and begin to just lengthen the tail side. So I'm going to take the long end and just kind of redistribute the fabric. So I'm going to pull a little from the long end and just begin to loosen the knot. And then I can begin to pull that excess back into the tail. All right, so I don't technically have to undo my knots, but I'll want to make sure that I can at least know where my base is for hip flexor height in relation to my ceiling. And then going forward, I'll just use my daisy chains to adjust the height. Let's see how I did. Much better. Don't be surprised after you've done a practice that you need to go in and lengthen your tails again. I noticed some natural stretch that happens with the fabric after one or two practices from washing it. And don't forget, once we are set with our height, to come up and officially fasten our carabiners so they are locked in. Hopefully that was a quick enough and thorough enough tutorial on how to set and hang our hammock. Hopefully I will get to work with you soon in the air, and until then, namaste.